What's up, everybody? I'm Darkish. This is Rippaverse NRT. So we don't have a lot to cover as far as this PayPal thing goes. Eric was just talking about it, and I just wanted to, touch base with you guys and make sure that you knew what was going on, just in case you missed his stream. So Eric doesn't have access to the funds. They kind of, I mean, I'll see if I can pull up the whole video, and we'll just watch it. But he doesn't have access to the funds yet. It is pain in the ass. But yeah, PayPal is fucking you over, and that's what I want to talk about right now. Anyway, is that PayPal has been fucking you over with the money. They fucked Eric over. Eric's getting lawyers involved. So just a heads up on that. That if you pay with PayPal, oh yeah, Eric has stopped PayPal from future rip reverse stuff. Like, it's as of today, it's paused and it will not be turned back on for the future stuff. As far as that goes, that's that's what it's kind of turned into. So but yeah, I wanted to talk about that, and everybody give them hell. Be sure to blast them about paying up. Hashtag pay up PayPal. But yeah, I wanted to cover that a little bit and let you guys know that we do have a Discord up if you want to get that. Um, I want to let me sign in. Okay. All right. Anyway, so yeah, we do have a Discord up for this, and you can access part of it without the paywall. So there is some of it that is behind the paywall, and that's like playing games and stuff like that, playing D&D with us and stuff. But I'm adding some channels all the time to it. So there's that. But just getting this out here. I'm gonna do a video today, and it just felt like the right thing to talk about, at least at the beginning of the video. So just getting that out is that you know Eric's gonna get lawyers involved. They pretty much stopped him from being able to get the money for like 60 days, and then after that they're gonna release it day by day, depending on who bought with PayPal and what. So as of today, PayPal is no longer accepted on the Rippaverse website. Um, so there is that. I'm not what I want to pull up. I got my Discord pull up here. Sorry. Um, but there is some of it that is behind the paywall. Anyway, and that's just only because like of the D&D game and stuff like that. The D&D games that will take place on there. They are pay to play. For some of them, not all of them, but some of them are. Let me see if I can pull up that interview with Eric. Um, but this is just a quick video. The I shared a video earlier today, and it was that uh the hat that I'm working on, and it's not wearable. It is way too small, like that right there. But it's almost halfway done printing. It's over halfway done printing now. It'll be done by in the morning, and I'll share that when I get done with that. Um, I just figured doing a video, pay up PayPal would be good. It might help. It might, let some people know what's going on there. But like I said, this is just I just wanted to get that out there as quickly as possible to let everybody know that it's what's happening with that. So PayPal is holding your funds, and they're even if you send in a message to them and they send you a message back saying that the purchase has been completed, they're lying. Eric showed it in his video today that it's all gone back to to holding. So just keep that in mind. Fuck PayPal. That's all I got to say about that. I haven't used PayPal in years just because of some shit like this. But yeah. So that being said, I was just kind of working on my print today. I got it where it's almost halfway done, so it'll be done by in the morning. Chances are, um, and it'll be a nice little like desk ornament or something like that. It won't be. I mean, you can hang it on the wall or something too, very easily. It's it's about that. What's up, Barrett? Yeah, it's about that big. As far as it goes, so it will not fit on your head because of the lightning bolts. I could not make it big enough in one print. So I may go back if I decide to make a bigger one. I may go back and print it separated and see if I can make it the size of an actual hat. But for now, it's like that big. If you missed the video earlier, what's going on, Barry? What you up to, man? Uh, and as of tomorrow, we will have be 2 weeks into this thing. So that's great. You know, 2 weeks into the this channel, and I think we're at 130. We were last time I checked, so thank all of you for that too. Um, we're going to get bigger. We're going to get badder. Just as soon as stuff comes out, I'm going to be doing more videos, everything like that I can to, build. I'm going to be doing long form videos. Like y'all think that 5 hour video was a lot. It's not. I mean it is, but I may do several of those once we get some content to base it on. But yeah. So that all that being said, I was gonna play D&D last night. All right, so I got a Pokemon D&D game that I run on Tuesday nights. But the thing is that we didn't end up running it. Me and one of the guys in it, and he's a new guy. We ended up talking, and like he was one of my pay to play guys. So I didn't really. Yeah, but we were talking comic books. Like we were talking comic books before he arrived, and then he got involved in it. So we didn't even play D&D last night. We were just talking comic books, right? And talking old games that we ran and stuff like that. But I found out that he is a Rippaverse fan. Like he's one of us. So I'm like, yeah, okay. Because with pay to play guys, you don't know. They could be from anywhere, and you just you don't know enough about them, especially if they're not talkative. But anyway, so big shout out to Extreme Gamer. He's one of us. So he joined this channel last night while we were talking. But yeah, so we ended up just going over comic books and everything, and the subject of Rippaverse did come up, and it's just like boom, like he brought it up, and I'm like, well, man, I run a channel on that. You know what? Like, so that was cool. That was really cool. I really enjoyed that. I wish I would have asked, recorded it and done everything, but it's all good. So we do have a Discord set up for everybody. You don't have to pay to be in it. It'll just it'll open up stuff if you purchase, if you like join the Patreon or the Subscribe Star. But it is a basic, where we can communicate and share fan art and all that stuff. That's all basic. So that's there. Let me. Where's my phone? Oh, yeah, we got a new command on this thing, so let me get in here and do all that. Oh, looks like we got another subscriber to just a few minutes ago. Thank you. We're at 32. All right. Awesome. So let's see here. There's the Discord link if you guys want it. Um, it's coming up soon. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's it. And this is purely just a community thing for us. And I do run D&D off of it. So if you guys do end up, what's up? What's up, Pilser? Uh, just getting all these links up. Uh, yeah, I guess all you guys know that Eric's no longer going to be accepting PayPal on Rippaverse. Hey, everybody who paid with it before is going to get their stuff, but nobody's allowed to pay with it after this because of the issues that he's been having with it. Let's see, what is it? Well, I'm good, man. I was just telling it that last night I was supposed to run a D&D game on Twitch. Is Pokemon D&D, and one of the guys who's one of my pay to play guys, he is actually one of us. Most of the time with pay to play guys, you don't know like what they think or what anything like that. They just want to play the D&D game. But we were talking about comics before he arrived, and then he's like, "Oh yeah, well, have you heard about Rippaverse?" I'm like, "Yes, yes, I have." So he's one of us, and he joined the channel last night as a subscriber, and we spent 4 or 5 hours just talking instead of playing the game. So that was really cool. I really enjoyed that. So um, yeah, I've opened up. Like I said, I was just telling them that I opened up the Discord, so you guys can get in the Discord. You can chat, whatever. If you guys want to be on the channel to talk or what's up, Piggy, to talk on the Discord, then I'm open to it. We gotta do something until the Rippaverse comes out anyway, and we don't have I don't have enough information to go off on anything other than news, and all the news is bad right now, other than Eric making money and the Rippaverse succeeding. The PayPal's bad, everything's bad. So if y'all want to get in here and talk to me on this, I mean, have a conversation. We can schedule it out. I will talk to anybody and about this, nerd out with them. So if y'all want to do that, join the Discord link is above. I just sent it, so we can get all that done if you guys want to. So I mean, just full long forum discussions, arguments, whatever the hell we want to do with it, like like it used to be. And that's one thing I'm trying to strive for is with this community is getting to what we used to be. You know, as nerds, as geeks, fans, whatever you want to call us, right? I want to get back to that, to what we used to be. Uh, and that means talking it out, arguing, you know, having a civil debate about powers, about who would win a fight, whatever. That is that's what I want this community to grow. And I'm going to be doing videos every single day just to help that cause, right? So yeah, if you guys want to get in on it, let me know. Join the Discord, and I'll be glad to schedule something out with you and talk it out. What's up, Sam? Uh, yeah. If one of y'all will click that Discord link, make sure that it works for me, so that I can. Because I've been doing a lot of reorganizing stuff today. Um, but yeah, I want to I want to get back to what we were, 100%. And the only way to do that is one, we have the conversations, and two, we don't give a fuck about what anybody says. Like we the nerd culture was built on us not giving a shit about what anybody outside said, like the normies, shit like that. Like fuck them. That they invaded our culture, and invaded our culture, appropriated our our thing, and when they made it popular, right? So now we're gonna. I've said it every damn stream that we're gatekeeping the shit out of this. We are, but we're also the most welcoming community you will ever see. Yeah, fuck PayPal. We're the most welcoming community you will ever see, as long as you don't try to invade, right? And that's what they never understood, is that anybody can be a nerd, anybody can be a geek, anybody can do this, but you don't try to change it. You don't try to alter what it is, because that is where it gets messy for people. That's where people get gatekeeped out, right? So a lot of I've never seen an instance of anybody ever being gate kept out. I've had it more where we've been bullied, and we've been I wasn't a kid when being a nerd was popular, right? That didn't happen when I was a kid, and I'm in Alabama, so I don't like sports except for boxing and MMA, and that just you know, it, when I was a kid, you got bullied for being a nerd, right? So I was a secret nerd in high school. No, I mean, people knew that I was a nerd, but there was other people who just didn't know exactly what I was into, because it was like you could like a few things and be okay. Like Dragon Ball Z, you could like Dragon Ball Z and be completely fine with most people. But yeah, exactly, exactly, yeah, that. We gotta keep the shit out of that. So by all means, if somebody gets into this chat or gets into the Discord, you know, I'm not around or something. Well, I'd be around on here, but like I say, I'm too busy to look at the chat, right? By all means, treat them the same way you would in Ripa's channel. You know, if somebody comes in here being an asshole, or something like that. If somebody gets in the Discord, then that's a whole different story. They will be ridiculed off that thing. I mean, it's not even going to be funny. Um, I believe in free speech as far as private property rights are concerned. So that's 100% my beliefs on that. Is you're free to say what you want, but you better be willing to deal with the consequences for it. If you're gonna say something, if I block somebody, it's going to be, you know they're gonna get blasted on here. I'm That's just how I am. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I'll call somebody a fucking retard for doing something stupid. But you guys who've listened to me, you guys know that. So by all means, deal with it the same way you would in Eric's channel, and especially my mods, right? Y'all deal with it. Whatever y'all would do. If somebody tries to hijack the channel, block them. Make whatever. But yeah, so just going back to it, like I want to have long form discussions. I want to do long form channels. The hat that's getting printed off right now, it's over halfway done. It's smaller than I wanted it to be, but it's like that right there. I mean, as far as that goes, it's not gonna fit on your head. It's a little too small to fit on your head. It'd be a good desk ornament or something like that, or to hang on a wall. it would look really cool. But I, if I ever do a bigger one, I'll have to do it in separate pieces because the lightning bolts make it too big to print, right? So um, there's that. But it should be done by tomorrow, and I'll get it painted as soon as I can get some paint. Um, you're in the Discord voice right now. Okay. Um, let's see. Let me set up one for that. Okay, yeah, you're in general. Okay, cool. You wanna come on and have a conversation, Barrett? Since you're the first one through. Let me set up a private one. Leave that one, and I'll set up a private one. For you guys when we do discussions like that, because everybody can just hop into that one. Yeah, Tolkien's work, yeah, oh, that's a disgrace, right? I'm a huge Tolkien fan. I read the Silmarillion once a year. Okay, so don't get me started on that. I will end up in a 3 hour fucking rant about Lord of the Rings. Okay, yeah. Like I said, just leave that one, and I'll set up one real quick for it, because I don't want it. I don't want people to just be able to jump into to it while. Let's see. There you go. All right, yeah, you're in it now. So yeah, you wanna hop on here? We can have a conversation. Um, and like I said, any of the rest of you want to, by all means, join the Discord, and we can schedule it out for other people if you guys want to. Um, all right, I'm gonna hop onto the call here, and we will see. All right, Barrett, can you hear me? Let me hold on. All right, can you hear me, Barrett? No. What's up? Okay. I can see mine's lighting up, but yours isn't. So, all
Yeah, I can hear you now.
right, what's up, man?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Oh, good. Yes, welcome to the channel.
Yeah, nice to be here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um.
I'm really excited for this book, man. I remember hearing about it. I remember one point when this was like really early days, we didn't know anything about it. It's like, when he first said that there'd be 10,000 books, and I'd be like, man, I hope he was scrambling to sell 50,000 books. And I'd be wrong if I said it was only 50,000. It's a lot more. Well, it's not a lot more, but it's more than 50K.
Yeah. Um. Like I was expecting like the millionaire, million rank because of what EVS's did, what Cyberfrog did. I was expecting like a million. I wasn't expecting 3 million. Right.
No, this is ridiculous. But we still got haters. I mean, every step of the way, they're going to be saying this is not going to do shit. They said like it's not going to sell 200 copies. Oh well, it didn't make a million. It took over a day to make a million. This is no one's going to get the book, and then when people get the book, oh, the second book's never going to come out, and then eventually it's going to be like, well, this is going to go belly up by the time the 10th book comes out, and then eventually it's going to be like, oh, no one's going to see the movie, man. The movie's going to be terrible, and then it's like no one's going to want to play the game.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to keep escalating, and every step of the way, we're going to have people who are just going to say this isn't going to work. This is going to fail. This is a scam, but it's not going to be like that.
Right. Right. Yeah. 100%. I mean, like they don't know. A lot of people who say that though, they don't know the history, right? That they have no clue. Like I've said this before, and I'm pretty sure you've heard me say this before. So you have Spawn. Spawn came out in 93, 94, sometime in that area, right? In 96, they had a movie. Okay. Yes, it was from Image, but back then Image was not as big as it is now. Like Image was three guys who just happened to be comic book writers, right? And that's my whole thing is you don't know the history if you don't think that Marvel and DC can be competed with, especially when they're doing terrible.
Oh yeah, I mean it's not. Yeah, it's not like I said this on the stream where it was just us two that Spider-Man should be selling 50 million an issue. It isn't. It's not even selling 50,000 an issue.
Exactly.
We just
Yeah.
said it. So if we were to say an industry where it was selling 50 million an issue, which like I said that's possible if you had the right content, um, not just the right content, but it was being distributed correctly, which they aren't doing at all. You could have Spider-Man selling 50 million an issue. You could have Avengers doing similar numbers. You could have like like Black Panther could be doing 10 million an issue.
Yeah.
And these numbers, and DC could have similar numbers. And if the comic book industry was like at that point, then yeah, a Ripperverse would be hard to pull off. But you look at the numbers that we get from Comic Con, it's like 24,000, if
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Uh,
Exactly.
yeah.
We
So
don't know. We don't know exactly how much of that is the book itself. But what's up, DCC?
oh yeah, yeah no
Um, Boorad, what's up, man?
yeah no it's just 24,000 books going out to the direct market. That's not even indicative of how many people actually buy one and read it. It's just, that's how many were sent out to the direct market. You go to a local comic book shop, you see all the new stuff. It's just sitting on the racks, and people are buying back issues, manga, merch. If you're an LCS, it's either back issues, old trade paperbacks, from the classic Marvel and DC stuff, and the older Image stuff, manga, and like merchandise.
Yeah.
That's how you're surviving. You're not making enough money
I
off of
was in a comic book store about I'll say 2 months ago, and like they were not buying anything from customers. That's a rare thing for a comic book store not to buy anything. They were not buying anything. They could not sell action figures. And that's insane to me, right? Like if you can't sell comics, that's one thing, but the Marvel Legends figures, they sell every month, but they couldn't even get rid of them, right? And it was bad. It was a bad state to be in, and I'm just like, well, are you selling anything? And they said, well, we're selling back issues of The Boys and Invincible. I'm like, okay, well that makes sense, you know. The Boys and Invincible should never outdo Marvel and DC. That should not be a thing. Just
yeah.
because of all the money that goes into Marvel or should be going into Marvel and DC.
Yeah, no, I bought I bought a lot of Invincible trades from my local comic store, and I wasn't the only one buying them, so they were like regularly. There were some where I had to like come back the next week because it was like out of stock.
Right.
So people were buying at least at my LCS, so people were buying trades for stuff like Invincible. So that's what people are buying. You're buying trade paperbacks from independents, and the older Marvel and DC stuff like Watchmen, these older Deadpool and Cable Omnibus, a whole bunch of stuff. There's like a lot of content that Marvel and DC have, and there's trades that people want to buy, and that's what people are buying if they're buying anything from their local comic book store. A lot of people just aren't going. Uh,
Yeah. I mean, but I've never seen anything like that where the boys and Invincible were outselling Marvel and DC.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah, no, I agree with you, Hail the Lord. Invincible's a great series up until the 22nd trade paperback.
Yeah.
That was like so bad, because it's so pointless. And there's some sort of falters at the end. I want to do something that's kind of like Invincible in the sense it has this clear start end. It's its own like self-contained superhero universe. Invincible doesn't really have this. There is like an image verse, but
Well,
it's not.
the Imageverse is like three different universes. So you got like Spawn, you got old school, you have Wildcats. Wildcats moved to DC, but you had Wildcats, and then you have Invincible. That's the three superhero universes from original Image, anyway. And then like DC bought the Wildstorm universe, so that became one of the 52 universes in DC. And then you have Spawn, which exists in Invincible, but at the same time, he's got his own universe. But that's that, and then you got the overall one that is like that Invincible is part of, which is like The Walking Dead. Because there's a scene where he goes through the Walking Dead universe and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, there's like a whole multiverse,
Yeah, yeah. There's a whole multiverse to
Yeah.
Invincible.
Yeah, that's Angstrom Levy's character.
Yeah,
That's all. And that's an interesting character. I think, the way Kirkman did, Angstrom Levy's character and all the alternate dimensions was actually really cool. It's probably like one of the coolest things about Invincible. Um,
yeah,
and there's also like the white magic, and everything, and the powers and the progression of the character is pretty cool. But you could do, like, I wouldn't say you could, but I want to do something that's like similar in the sense that like it's this contained superhero story that has like the eye that's like hints at these, not hints, but like kind of like Marvel and DC in the sense that like it's superhero focused,
hmm
but not necessarily this big, expansive, like ever like what Rippaverse is doing, where like
yeah,
something where decades to come, where there's a clear start, there's a clear end to it, and people can just read that entire story and not losing yourself in a universe is one thing, but like having a story with a start and end is very satisfying, and that's why manga sells so well, because you know where the start end or that. I mean, also, you're doing something like one
yeah,
thousand chapters, but most manga, clear start and end, and that's what people like.
yeah. I mean, like I've read through I've read through multiple like generations worth, thanks to online sources and stuff like that. I've been able to read like back how Batman started, how Spider-Man got his start. I've been able to read that stuff and like, but I've also seen where it's split, everywhere up until like I quit reading period after when New 52 with DC. 100% quit reading it after like halfway through that. I didn't go back and read anything. And I came back to read a little of Rebirth and some of the Deathstroke issues, and I stopped right there. Like I was done. I'm like I regretted trying to come back. And with Marvel, it actually started after Civil War for me, like Marvel falling downhill. But it just kept getting like up and down from that, and I haven't. I bought some issues, and I still like have not read them. I'm like, no, I don't want to read it. Um, that's kind of how it went for me. And then like I've been excited for this for like a, since he started talking about it, right? And I was just waiting on him to announce that he was actually working on it or actually doing it. And then when he did, I'm like, yes, okay, I'm gonna get it. And then I started this channel to be like kind of a voice of the fans type of thing. So it's part of it. So that's what I wanted it to be is like us discussing, us arguing, us talking, whatever, about Rippaverse. And yeah, eventually we won't have to compare them to Marvel and DC characters.
Yeah,
That's what I'm waiting on. When we don't have to compare some to any other character,
yeah.
or
Isom will just be Isom, and
Awesome will be awesome, and if everything goes right, then Spider-Man and all them they'll be left in the dust. I don't think that Disney will ever stop making the movies, but they're going to be pushed back in our minds anyway, and in the comic fans' minds.
yeah. It's
It,
just
it mm,
yeah, yeah. There's no. I agree with you there. For the hardcore fans of these characters of comics, it's going to be easier, but with a character like Spider-Man, like parents buy Spider-Man car seats for their kids.
mm,
Like the merchandising of Marvel and DC is ridiculous, and there's a lot of cultural power in that. So
mm,
it's a big hurdle to overcome because you have decades of this being in the psyche of the culture.
mm.
So there's a big hurdle to jump there, but it's not impossible. It's just there's a lot of work to do, but we're only getting started. So
Exactly. Yeah. This is just the beginning, and we get to be here for the beginning of this one,
yeah,
right? So it's a little different this time for some of us. Like we get to be here from the beginning, and when DC and Marvel do become irrelevant, like Sam's saying, you know, we can stop talking. Well, we can stop talking about them anyway, but
Well, yeah, to me they're irrelevant.
they already are for me, yeah.
Yeah,
But like I don't think it'll ever be out of the normie consciousness. Like, and they don't care who owns the characters, right? That they don't give a shit. The
no,
normies
they
don't.
don't. Yeah, they don't even know, man.
As long as they've got stuff to consume, and watch, they're okay with it, and they'll watch anything. Like I've been looking at a lot of alternatives, like to superhero stuff recently. Like there was a movie, and it was a little low budget movie called Arch Enemy. It's painful to watch. Don't get me wrong here. It's not good at all, but I can see what they're trying, you know. And it's basically a comic book guy gets pulled into the real world, or gets knocked into the real world by his arch enemy. But it's not good at all. But I bought it. I bought it just to support it because it was something different.
Yeah,
But I can see where it could get better. You know,
yeah,
what we need are some Rippaverse cartoons. To get the kids, right?
yeah.
Like
Well, I want basically an animated series that's done with like Batman the animated series is something that you can watch as an adult or you can watch as a child and you can
exactly,
have
yes,
fun. So there's if a Riververse animated series happens, and I think it's going to happen sooner rather than later.
yeah,
I think it should be made from this all ages perspective, where you watch it as a kid and you see it's like flashing, it's fun, you have a good time with it, but as you're an adult, you're watching, you see, all the complex plot lines that go into place, and if it follows, the comics, the point of this comic universe isn't Isom One. It's the fact that you'd be reading like Yaira, 5,
yeah,
and you see an asterisk that says, if you want to know what happened in Yaira 5, you got to read Isom One. And there's so many characters. Like I don't know. I think of Santuan, the big guy. I'm like, one of the few characters we have an interior panel of, and I want to, a book about him. I want to read his story. I want to read Isom's, I want to read Isom issue 0, man.
yeah,
There's so many books that so many books for the Ripperverse to read just now with like what little information we have, like so many different ways it could go, and I'm so excited to be there. Like you said, we're in at the ground floor and it's only going to go up from here.
yeah, yeah. I mean, that's it. And but we get to be here for this, right? I remember the '90s. I was a kid when Spawn came out, but like I remember that happening, like Spawn, and then Spawn had the animated series that was on HBO, and then they had the movie, right? And that was all within a span of a few years. Like, just I used to get the Wizard magazines, that talked about comic books and stuff, and I miss that. But it used to tell you about like the comic book, the story, all that stuff. It was kind of what I'm doing here now. Just it was a magazine.
Yeah. Well,
Eh,
yeah, no, it's yeah, definitely in the 90s. That's where, yeah, it was for the internet, where everything's digital now. So
mm-hmm.
you used to, get a game. I remember I was born in 98, so I'm pretty young, but I remember getting GameCube games. It was all physical games, and you get, game manuals. You could,
Yeah,
flip through them and give you tips on how to play the game, instructions, and have, nice artwork and design and everything. And now if you open up, if you even buy a physical game anymore, it's just the disc and like a little piece of paper to get a code for something. There's
yeah,
no like actual manual, so it's definitely we've moved towards the internet, and that's benefited us in a lot of ways. In terms of the parallel economy and the ability to communicate and all the things you can do online is very useful. Like like checking your bank account information is a lot easier with the internet than it is to do it over the phone. But we've lost a lot of the merchandising, like these really intimate, cool things that you could get, being a fan, with like magazines and manuals and all these sorts of things are just gone because everything's digital now.
yeah, yeah. I mean, 100%. And then it's like, but I mean, like I said, I remember when Spawn was announced in Wizard magazine, and then like 2 years later, there was a fucking movie. Right? That's insane for the '90s anyway. That's insane, right? And Spawn was came out. 3 years before Blade did, and it was CG. It had terrible CG, but the costume looked cool and all of that. I remember the movie, and then like the cartoon came on HBO, and like all in the span of 2 or 3 years, like in between that, and it was just I was that was amazing at the time, and I don't think people give that enough credit, like how quickly it became a movie, you know. And it
Yeah.
was it was a direct competition to DC and Marvel. It still is. Spawn still outsells them to this day.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, comic book. It's not hard to outsell DC and Marvel from numbers.
Oh no, it's not, and it should be. That's what I'm saying. It should be harder to outsell them.
Yeah.
Like Spider-Man and Batman should be outselling everything. They're the two most popular heroes to ever exist.
Yeah, yeah, no, but yeah, Batman should be selling. Like I said, Spider-Man should be selling 50 million an issue. Batman should be selling 50 million an issue. Like there's
Exactly.
no reason why it shouldn't be. If Endgame can make like $2 billion, man, like no and it's such a missed opportunity with the MC with the movie and the comics thing. Because I remember I took a friend of mine a few months back to my local comic store, and he's one of these big Marvel guys, still um, got the need for the old guard, and he was excited for Multiverse of Madness, and he was going to the guy at the comic store, and he was like, "Hey, is there any thing I could read that would tie into the movie that's coming out?" He's like, "Oh, I don't think anything like that's coming out. It's such a missed opportunity." But Kevin Feige isn't a comic book fan, so he's not coming at this from the perspective of a comic book fan. He's coming at this from a perspective of like, how can I get the most amount of political points
Hmm.
for the movies that I'm making,
Yeah.
which is disgusting. And the lack of creative integrity is the thing that has pushed me away from uh, being a fan of Marvel and DC, because I remember, like I said, I'm a pretty young guy, and when I was, a teenager, all this stuff was in full swing, so I didn't want to go, buy this crap when I was seeing like Hillary Clinton being deified in these comics. Um, so that's like what they were doing in the 2016 election cycle, Marvel and DC, and you had like Heather Antos and Zoe Quinn, all these very vitriolic, mean people, and this is who the comic book industry wants, the mainstream old guard. This is the people that they want. I mean, Heather Antos, she can't even, she doesn't even like Star Trek and Star Wars. She doesn't even like any of these IPs that she's writing or editing comics for,
Yeah.
and she can't even like deny that she hates. She's just like sigh. Yeah, dude, it's so cringy. And it's not to say like I don't want to like attack anybody, but it's just so sad that this is who the comic book industry is catering to. Like people who just do not like comics at all. They
Yeah.
just yeah.
Yeah. You're shilling to the lowest common denominator, and it's stupid. Like you're you piss off all your fans, and then you don't know about what you're writing. That is one of the biggest insults you can give, because there's a million people that know these, millions of people that know these comics, that know everything about them, that would love to have that job. It's what's his name in that works for. He should honestly be slapped every time something Star Wars comes out. Um, I forget his name, but he attacks Star Wars theory. You know, he don't like Star Wars theory, but yeah, I mean that dude should be slapped every single time something comes out. Like that should be his punishment. Get backhanded every fucking time, because he's one of the problems, right? And like I said, I don't even remember Pablo Hidalgo, right? He's a problem with Star Wars. He's one of the main problems with Star Wars. And then because he's supposed to be the historian, he's supposed to know everything about it, right? Um, but he needs to be slapped for it. And then the people who write for Marvel, I don't even know who's writing for Marvel anymore, right? Like
Uh,
that's how far I've been out of it. I
you
don't
got
even know
like
who's writing for it.
Vita Ayala. You've got I'm not sure if Mags, but funny thing is that if you're an independent comic, you're Rippaverse. You're making $3 million off your independent website. If you're a comic book pro, you're on GoFundMe, e-begging to get your vaginoplasty funded. That's what Magdalene Visaggio. She's had a series of GoFundMe, but that's her most recent one.
Mhm.
Previous ones were to help pay for her rent. This one's to help pay for her vaginoplasty. Hope it goes well for her. I know every part of a woman's life is one they get their penis turned into a vagina. That's very common for women, right? That's a very womanly experience that people have. But yeah, no. But this is the whole thing is that they act like the comic book industry is booming, like everyone's making money, it's growing exponentially, but it's not reflected in anything in terms of the health of the local comic book shop, the salaries that these comic book pros are making. Like, if the comic book industry was doing as well as they were saying, then Magdalene Visaggio should be like a millionaire.
Exactly.
Vagrant Queen, no one knows about her series Vagrant Queen that got turned into a show for one season that nobody watched because it was a book that nobody read. Or what about was it Goddess Mode by Zoe Quinn that killed the Vertigo label that DC tried to revive because they couldn't. I don't think they were even able to sell 100 trades of Goddess Mode.
They did Goddess Mode and like what was it, Border Town, and a couple other things that were just god awful all at the same time, and then they're like, no, we're cutting it off, which that gave Neil Gaiman all his rights back to his characters, right? When they killed Vertigo, that gave him all his rights back. So he owns the Sandman stuff, but I don't know about that one because that's going to be. I don't know if Sandman is going to be good. It could be shot for shot, but I don't know if it's going to be good. You know, just one Netflix, and they changed Death, but and Neil Gaiman said he would never do that, but he did it. So, you know,
Yeah,
I
I don't know about Neil Diamond, so I'm not like much of like a classic comic book guy.
well,
So
I mean, this is all Sandman, right? This whole stack is Sandman. They're arcs from Sandman, full arcs. So like, I'm a big Sandman fan, but man, I don't know about the movie or the series. And I've wanted one for a long time. I wanted a movie or a live action something for a long time, but man, I don't know if I'll be able to watch it. I'm
yeah,
gonna wait and see. And if it's shot for shot, if they don't change any of the scenes, and the only thing is the race swap, I can deal with it, right? But if they change it and make stuff overly political in that was never there in the first place. On the surface, anyway, subtext is one thing, but I can deal with subtext. I can't deal with it being just open, all over the surface.
yeah, like in your face.
Yeah, exactly. And
Well, I hate this race swapping of care. It's so racist to do this stuff and act like it's progress. Invincible, the first season of Invincible, you had the character Amber Bennett, and they race swapped her. And Kirkman was like, "Oh, we race swapped this character." Well, I don't think he said it, but we changed her race and we made her a very complicated character, or she was one of the most complex characters in the show. And you watched Invincible in the show,
hate
and
Amber. You hate Amber. Like you want
yeah,
to strangle Amber.
yeah, and she's not even like a character that's like logically written. Like, what do you have respect for a girl who goes over to a guy's house, the guy bails for an hour, and then he comes back and they just start making out? That's something happens. Like it makes no sense, man. Like in the comics, with Invincible, like Amber was this side character, and their relationship was pretty high school cliche, but she wasn't like that like completely hapless girl that's just I guess decide to fall in love with Invincible because that's what the plot needed. It didn't it necessarily
Yeah,
feel like that. She was their relationship felt like it made sense and it formed pretty naturally in the comics. But in the show, it's just there. Amber's just there because it's political pandering.
yeah,
And
yeah, 100%.
honestly, I wouldn't have a problem with Amber if they just changed her name. Man, they could have just changed her name and acted like she was a totally different character. I always said she's still a terribly written character, but at least you're not race swapping a character. At least you're just saying like, we wanted to do Invincible's first girlfriend different because, spoiler alert, he ends up with Adam Eve, right?
Yeah,
That's the whole thing. But even the show seems like a little brattier than I think she was in the comics, but that's just when she's a teenager, so there's definitely I guess a progression there. But it's hit or miss with the Invincible show.
yeah.
Uh, like I love the animation. Like the action scenes are so well animated. Like when season 2 comes out, like the next 2 seasons, I'm sure on YouTube they'll upload the fight scenes. I'll
Mm.
probably just watch those. I'm not sure if I'll even watch the show because I don't think they're going to execute correctly on the comics. And I mean, I'm not sure how much of Invincible you've read, but if
I
you
read all of it. That's
yeah,
why.
well then
Yeah,
there's some stuff that's pretty controversial. I don't think they're going to deal with it in a way that I could stand to watch and not feel like they're
yeah,
lecturing me, especially with all the stuff that's happened these days. If you know what I'm talking about,
yeah.
like
I know the exact scene you're talking about. Okay, I know it. You don't even have to say anymore. I know the one you're talking about, and I don't think they're gonna do it. I think they will make it where that never happens.
oh yeah, there's that too. They could just avoid it, you know. Um, that too. And yeah, exactly. Hail the Lord. She was so dumb. She acted. She knew Invincible was invincible, and then he comes and saves the day. And then she gets pissed off. She's like, "Well, you abandoned us." Like, well, but
He didn't. He was right there.
yeah,
He was right there in costume, and she knew it. She said she knew for weeks. So
yeah. In the comics, like when that scene happened, it made sense because Amber didn't know.
but
But
Amber didn't know at the scene.
and you're
That goes with like writers. That's writers not paying attention to what they're writing. So they're like they do this scene, and then they go back and they're writing dialogue for something else, and they're like, oh well, Amber has to find out at this point. Okay, well Amber already knows. He's known for weeks, but that just happened yesterday, right? So stuff
yeah,
like that is it's inconsistency.
yeah.
Is what that is.
The thing is, I'm frustrated because Kirkman's a pretty solid writer. I've read, like I said, read all of Invincible. I think that was a pretty good story for the amount for how long it is. It's pretty solid throughout. It just sort of has a shaky ending,
Yeah.
and like I said, God, 22 reboot, so bad. Uh,
Yeah. Like as far as Invincible goes, you know what I'm waiting on though? What I want to see animated, and they got to do this. They can't not do this right, right? Battle Beast and Thrag.
oh yeah, that'll be good. The Viltrumite War, like the whole
Yes, yes.
you'll get some cool fight scenes in the Viltrumite War for sure. But most of the trade paperbacks for Invincible are named after sitcoms.
Yeah.
That's I was buying one of them, and one of the guys ringing me up at my local comic book store told me that, and I'm like oh, Friends, Modern Family, Who's the
Mm.
Boss,
Yeah.
Three's Company.
Yeah. um. Well, Invincible was written with adoration for the superhero genre, and The Boys was not. The Boys was written with pure, unadulterated hatred for the superhero genre. It's kind of like Watchmen in that fact. Watchmen was written to completely demolish the superhero stuff, and because of Watchmen, we got dark, edgy DC, right? And then we got darker, edgy DC when The Killing Joke came out,
Yeah,
and then it kind of spiraled out of control there for a little while, and they kind of even up, but like because of those two books, they ruined DC.
yeah,
100%. They ruined DC way before DC was ever actually completely ruined. Um, and nobody can change my mind on the Watchmen anyway, because everybody started writing to that standard because it was it made millions of dollars. It still makes money. The fucking Watchmen still makes money. I hate the book. Okay, I cannot stand the Watchmen. That's why you heard my discussion, like I believe it was yesterday, about Doctor Manhattan. Like if you want to set me off in the chat, you want to hear me rant for 30 minutes. You talk about Doctor Manhattan being the strongest DC character. Because
oh yeah, I
because
heard it.
I will rant about that. But
Yeah.
yeah, Like I don't. I'm not a fan of a lot of stuff like that. I don't like the boys comic book. I've read it. I don't like it.
Yeah, no, I've never read the boys
I
comic
like the
book.
show. I do like the show. Um,
Yeah, yeah. People have said the show's pretty good. That's what I've heard.
they subvert a lot, and I mean they do. It's kind of funny, like the race swaps and stuff like that, or the or some of the swaps that they do work out better in the show because of how the book was written. Like Black Noir, it, in the comics, Black Noir is a clone of Homelander. Okay, in the show, he's kind of like a Batman type character. But then you have this scene where he's talking to cartoon characters, and you realize that's part of his power is he's talking to fucking cartoon characters. And so he was actually the Deadpool that was turned into kind of a Deadpool type character that was turned into the Batman type character. And that's interesting to me. Um, and
Yeah,
but they make a completely original character using that name instead of being the same one from the comic. Because
I,
the one
I
from the comics was just the same. I mean, he was Homelander, but he was in a suit and he was quiet.
yeah.
But
Well, I do like Deadpool. I got one Deadpool one shot back issue from my local comic shop, and I got the first volume of the Deadpool manga, Deadpool Samurai. Really
yeah,
good. I loved it. And I'd buy volume two, but I know some of that money would be heading to Marvel and Disney's way. And I have this thing where I don't like giving money to pedophiles. I know it's really controversial for me to say that. But like I'd be more comfortable if I was spending the money on comics, like I was spending, buying manga that wasn't owned by. uh,
like if you're gonna buy it, like go to a comic book store after it's already, a back issue or something like that, and
yeah,
just get it there. That way, the money is already, you're not giving money to them. If you're gonna do
yeah,
that, like I
I,
don't, I don't have a problem with anybody buying back issues for sure. It's buying the new shit, and nobody buys the new shit anyway. So I mean,
yeah. I could probably get the second volume for the Deadpool manga off of
yeah,
eBay.
like cause like I still find stuff that I had I buy action figures and stuff, and I know you can see like my pops up here, but you can't see any of the rest of them where they're sitting. But like I was at a convention, I say I say it was last year in July actually, cause and I got a Marvel action figure. Like and I was really happy about finding a Marvel for Marvel Legends. Like I was really happy about it because I got a Thanos, and I have them set up like where they're punching each other. So, but yeah, I was really excited about finding Marvel. Um, and that's just you know because I know the history. So
Yeah,
and I'm like, these people don't even know who the hell Marvel is, right?
yeah. Well,
And go ahead.
yeah. All I know with Captain, I don't know. Like I don't. All I know with Captain Marvel is that Shazam was Captain Marvel back in the day, and Captain Marvel was a man with the Marvel comics, right? And it
Mm.
was different. And there was like this whole evolution. Eventually, she became Carol Danvers, but Carol Danvers never really sold that well as a comic.
She
So
did as Miss Marvel, like when she was Miss Marvel, she sold a lot, right? And she was an extremely popular character at the time. I mean, people loved her as Miss Marvel, but when they turned her into Captain Marvel, they changed her personality. They changed everything about her, right, to just be what they wanted her to be, and instead of what she was. So like, there was never a problem with Miss Marvel,
yeah,
and
yeah.
then
No,
it,
I can see that.
and
Um,
then because she was always like she was a sidekick, right? She was a sidekick to Marvel. Yeah, Marvel is one of the greats, right? And he's one of the characters that never got brought back to life. Like a lot of people don't know that he gets brought back every now and then, but it's never permanent. It's like something goes up in the you know portal opens up and he flies out or something like that. But he never stays alive if he comes back to life.
yeah,
But he's one of the few characters that has just never been brought back, and they've had like seven other Captain Marvels since him.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Marvels, the Marvels next year, I've said that Marvel and DC are too boring to make fun of. I don't think that movie is going to be too boring to make fun of. That'll probably be the last one where I'll be really interested in making fun of it. But it was supposed to be Captain Marvel too, because Captain Marvel was so popular, made over $1 billion. It
Mm.
wasn't just because everyone was waiting to see Endgame.
Everybody just wanted to watch that damn movie to
Yeah.
because they sold it as being important and it wasn't at
Yeah,
all.
that's the only reason, and
It's more
that's
it's more
why.
important to Secret Wars or not
Yeah,
Secret Wars, the Secret Invasion than it is anything else. But and the Marvels, like what gets me like about Miss Marvel, the new Miss Marvel show, and this just pissed me off. All right, even more. I mean, this pissed me off just like Captain Marvel did with Marvel. So I 100% agree with Eric on that. Like what they did to Marvel was criminal. It should not have happened. Whoever wrote that in should have been fired on the spot for even suggesting it. Right? That's how I feel about it. But
yeah,
they gave Cam- Camilla Khan Marvel's uh, Nega bands as NEGA before anybody tries to clip me on this shit. Nega.
yeah. Where she gets the big hands. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the whole thing with the Marvel, like that movie's supposed to be Captain Marvel too. Then Kevin Feige was like, well, Captain Marvel herself it doesn't have enough box office oomph to get us to where we need to go. So let's bring in let's see, Miss Marvel and Monica Rambeau because everybody loved that one side character from Captain Marvel, right?
Yeah.
Um, that's the whole thing. And I know she's got her own thing going on in the comics, but we've established this before. Most people who go see these movies are normies. They don't know
They
anything
don't know
about Marvel.
shit. They
Yeah,
don't know shit about it. I mean, that's and like I said, that's gonna they don't care what they watch though. That's the thing about a normie. They don't
yeah.
care what they're watching.
Yeah, but I think people are tuning out because, again, like there's only so many MCU movies you can make before it starts getting boring, and for a lot of people it has. Endgame was this big, it was ending the first three phases, were the tightest, most well written, most compact in terms of storyline, and even that was like a mess towards the middle and the end of it.
Yeah.
Uh, but that was the best and it's gotten consistently worse. And they don't know it's starting to fall apart. Like you can see this is buckling. This is starting to buckle under its own weight because these movies, yes, they make hundreds of millions of dollars, but it's so expensive to do this. In the long term, and you've already seen like cutbacks and how the VFX artists for Marvel are in really bad working conditions because um, they just don't have the budget to do these things because it's not making enough money for it to put the love and care that it deserves
Yeah.
or you know what I mean. So this whole thing is going to buckle under its own weight and more people are going to check out because they have no intention of making this a coherent well-written universe. It's just pander pander pander.
Right, and it's also like the thing with Florida and Disney that opened up a lot of the normies. Like shit like that has to happen for normies to realize this shit's fucked up. You know, like the whole
Oh
Disney situation in Florida. That
oh yeah.
had that happens just so that normal people would wake up a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. Normies wait for Spider-Man to team up with Batman. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
The stuff like
100%.
that.
Yeah,
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 yes, yeah. Like they don't know anything about anything. Or there was a time where like, why isn't Spider-Man in the MCU? And it was like, well, Marvel sold the movie rights to Sony years ago, and that's why Tobey Maguire was the original Peter Dark, well, the best Peter Darker, right?
yeah,
I watched the first Spider-Man 2002 with Tobey Maguire. It's a good movie. I like it.
yeah, yeah. I mean that one's it doesn't hold up to till today. Not
Yeah,
really. But that's just
yeah,
because it's a
yeah,
Sam Raimi movie, and they never. I mean, Sam Raimi movies are always turning to cult classics, unless you're talking about Multiverse of Madness, which that is I've said it before, and I'll say it again. That is the greatest Sam Raimi movie to ever exist, but it's one of the worst Marvel movies. Just because, like, if it was Evil Dead 3, that movie would have been perfect. And
Yeah,
then,
no, I'm not. I mean, I kind of want to see all this stuff like years down the line,
mm,
maybe, but not right now.
no, 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 definitely don't give Disney and all them your money.
Yeah,
Wait till it comes out on DVD and then like buy it. If you
yeah.
or
I like
rent
I
it from a red box.
Yeah, I've got access to a Disney Plus subscription, but I
Mhm.
don't even want to like log on and waste my time watching this stuff.
Yeah.
There are some like I love Captain America, like the first Captain America. I've watched that movie quite a few times.
Mm.
Iron Man came out when I was 10. I loved watching that movie as a kid, and I've watched that several times. I think when I watched Endgame, I came home and I put my Iron Man DVD and my Iron Man Blu-ray, and I watched it. It's just such a good movie. The
Yeah.
original Iron Man, and it's just like John Favreau knew what he was doing when he was making that movie, and like in the behind the scenes, he played Happy, he was getting his hair cut to make him look more like in the comics. So there was this mindset at the beginning of the MCU to try and be accurate with the comics, and they were successful to a certain extent because there's some stuff in Civil War that lines up pretty well, but it's just a mess in terms of the plot lines, and um, they don't know what they're doing. Well, not they don't know what they're doing, but there's just no coherent structure, even though they got all these movies planned out. Phase Four was supposed to be doing well, and everyone was supposed to be loving it. And then Kevin Feige at Comic Con was like, "Yeah, Phase Four is ending with Wakanda Forever, where we're going to use Chadwick Boseman's death to try and get your butt in the seat for Black Panther 2, right?" You know,
Yeah, yeah, and that's kind of insulting to everybody. Like here's my thoughts. Okay, so if they're doing Wakanda Forever during the blip, what they call it, like where everybody was snapped out of existence, fine. I'm okay with that, right? If they base it during that, if they said it after that and they killed T'Challa off screen, then they're retarded, right?
I think it's after the snap. I think it's not during the blip. I think it's after Endgame, is done. Like I think
Well,
that's what they're going to go with.
yeah, I figured I'll go with like sometime in then the Falcon and the Winter Soldier like time frame,
Yeah.
and that's just like that's insulting, right? That's insulting to Black Panther fans. That's insulting to everybody. They should recast him if they're gonna do it during the blip, like while everybody snapped out of existence. Okay, fine, I'll give that to them. But if they do it after that and they kill him off screen, it's a massive insult because
Yeah. But these people don't care about being insulting.
no,
Um
they don't. And
to
they're doing it on purpose.
Yeah,
Like,
to anybody. In New Orleans, there's a 40-foot statue of an Afro pig. Like this is what they think is being respectful.
yeah, exactly. But like I've said it before, Black Panther is my favorite Marvel character. 100%, he is my favorite Marvel character. And I found the first movie insulting. Right? I love Civil War. Like Civil War is the Black Panther movie featuring everybody else. That's what that is. Um, but the Black Panther movie itself was, I hated it. I hated every moment of it. It was not good, and that was kind of where my disillusion started with the movies was Black Panther. It wasn't Captain Marvel. It was there.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
I was not happy with it.
I'm not, I never read the Black Panther comics. I remember watching that movie. I saw it in theaters. I liked it. I didn't think it was anything that special, but I remember my sister watched it and she was like, Michael B. Jordan character, Michael B. Jordan's character, Killmonger. She's like, oh, I love T'Challa's, accent. It's so nice. Like, why wasn't I wish, his character was speaking like that, something like that. And
Yeah,
Killmonger, he grew up in, I don't know, like Oakland or whatever. He sounds like, how any black man growing up in the, inner city in California would sound like. So he
yeah,
sounded fine to me. But
yeah,
that's the funny thing, is that there's a certain perception that some people want. People have this perception they want to put on to other people. I'm not going to say my sister is a bad person or anything like that, but the whole thing is that like you have these white urban liberals, and they have no no idea of what anything outside their perspective is.
Hmm.
And all of this is well, not all of this, but there's so much projection that goes on.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
yeah, hundred
yeah.
percent.
So like when Rippaverse started doing well, and all these racist attacks start, all these N bombs, like love the Gundams are the best. Like they were dropping N bombs like we were at a clan rally. And it's all projection. They say Comicsgate is racist. They say Comicsgate is a hate group, but they're mean, hateful, vindictive people, and they
Exactly.
and they know that. And everyone who does not conform, to their, own hateful and spitefulness in the exact same way, has to be this mean. They have to project, the way they feel on the other people, because they have no healthy way to deal with the bad things in life. So they just take it out on other people. It's not a healthy way to live, man. Like if you're like that, you got to do something else. It's
I
not
mean,
good.
I'm a black guy from. I'm a white guy from. Sorry, I'm a white guy from Alabama, and Black Panther. Like I've got these. This is the actual stories where Killmonger and White Wolf show up. Is what these are. Like, and favorite Marvel hero is Black Panther. I've got Black Panther merchandise all over the place. You just can't really see it. Uh, like posters, all kind of stuff, and I've printed up a Black Panther helmet that I can't wear to a convention, so I painted it to be white wolf, but still. Um, but yeah, it's like that's, and I'm not saying I can't wear it. I physically can't get it on my head. It's too small. Not that I can't wear it. I mean, everybody knows who I am around here. As far as conventions go, I'll wear what the fuck I want. But uh, yeah, it physically will not fit on my head. But yeah, I mean, I'm a white guy from Alabama. My favorite character is Black Panther. I listen to Young Ripper every day. So what's your deal? You know what I mean? Like they're gonna say that shit. They're like,
Yeah, I'm so excited for Truth, Justice, and the American Way.
yeah,
David Williams is penciling it, and he's a black man, and Gabe El Taib's, he's Mexican, he's
yeah,
Arab, and there's a black woman. Truth is prominently on the cover. I got the Truth cover. I want to, if I can't back the campaign again, I want to get all the covers, but I got the Truth cover, and she looks like a wonderful character to me. Like I don't need someone, I'm a white guy from New York, so I don't look like, I don't look like a black woman, but I don't need,
right.
to look like a black woman to relate to her struggles, or to want to read a story that features, a character like that.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm not a giant purple demigod, but Thanos is one of my favorites. I love that. I hate the movie Thanos. I don't like the movie Thanos.
Yeah,
I like the comics,
yeah.
but
I've only seen Thanos from the movies, but I love the idea of his character. It is really good, and I think he was portrayed well, at least. Like Josh Brolin, who
hmm
played him, like
oh, he was portrayed very well. It was just like the actual writing to him was
yeah,
just like his motivations were what I didn't like.
yeah. Well,
But like I mean
yeah,
like I got that. I got a
yeah.
little Thanos.
Yeah, Thanos had like some weird motivations in the comics. Like he was doing it for to try and get his girlfriend back or something
No,
like
no, no.
that.
Okay, so he worshipped death. That like the actual character of death.
Yeah,
He worshipped her, and he was in love with her because and the thing is like if you read his backstory, she manipulated him when he was a kid into worshiping her, right? So he was all about killing. And death and I went over this the other night, but death in Marvel and death in DC are two very separate characters. Death in DC is both life and death. Okay, she doesn't care who dies and who doesn't die. She just does her job. She's happy. But death in Marvel is vindictive. She's evil. Other than in Deadpool comics, you know. But like Deadpool's in love with her too. But yeah, Thanos is a simp for death. Um, but she kind of manipulated him when he was a kid into being like that. And like people, a lot of people don't know that like Thanos murdered all his biological children for death, right? That he had with various women across he murdered all of them but one. One of them escaped that he didn't know about. But he murdered all of them. He murdered half the universe. That's why he snapped them out. It wasn't him snapping them out. Wasn't them disappearing in the comics. They died. He killed half the universe and they vanished. Um, and that was just to impress Death.
Okay. Well, yeah, no, that actually sounds pretty cool.
And
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 is that
and then later she turns him into her avatar and sends him into the Cancerverse because the Cancerverse is a universe without death, right? Death does not exist there. So he goes to the Cancerverse and he kills the Cancerverse by bringing death to it. He has to get killed in the Cancerverse, and death gets brought over there with him. So she's able to reap all that entire universe. You know, that's but that's Thanos. You know, Thanos is a simp for death, or he's half-ass hero in Infinity Watch. Which
Infinity War?
no, Infinity Watch is after Infinity War. Like him, Adam Warlock, and a few others, they team up.
Okay. Yeah,
And
I played the game Guardians of the Galaxy. Adam Warlock's in there. He seems like an interesting character.
mm, but
But yeah, no, there's one thing. Let's see. Sam Rogers asked, "Do you think truth, justice, and the American way could be in the Ripperverse?" I think it's possible. Like
I mean,
Gage.
there could be a crossover.
Yeah, there could be a crossover. And it could be a Ripper could do canonical crossovers.
I
Uh,
doubt that. I doubt he will.
but yeah,
But that I think that's the only way. Like that is literally the only way that a multiverse is going to be established. Is that if it's a crossover? Somebody
yeah,
coming from like Gabe's universe and coming in, or something like that.
yeah.
That would be the only way I could see it happening.
Yeah, and not necessarily like a multiverse. Just saying, like we're doing like a one-shot crossover for the fans. Like that.
Yeah,
Like saying like here's a cool story. And it's not going to be canonical in either universe. We're just doing it because it'd be a cool thing to draw.
yeah. I mean, and that could happen. I mean, I'm betting there's going to be a lot of fan fiction about it, right?
Yeah,
About that more than there's going to be a comic book about it, because just because of Eric's rule, if you establish crossovers with other universes, that means there's a multiverse, or at least
yeah.
there's some kind of connection between them. But that's usually most of the time crossover stories are a money grab, like from the companies. Like I went over this one of my earlier videos. It's like whenever you see a crossover event between two separate comic companies, one of those comics is about to go under. That's the reason they're doing it, or both. Like the most egregious crossover to ever exist is, you know, the DC Marvel one. Okay, that's a cool ass cover, but the story didn't make sense at all. And then they did a fusion universe after that because they were working together at the time. Marvel and DC were. They were trying to merge stuff, and get everything. They had the amalgam universe, so you had like Dark Claw, who was Wolverine and Batman fused into one character.
That sounds so stupid.
Doctor Strange Fate, which is probably the only one that makes any sense. Super Soldier. Um, Dare the Terminator, which is retarded. Okay, so it's Daredevil, Electro, and Deathstroke all merged to one character. And then there's Cat's Eye, which is Elektra and Catwoman merged to one person. So it's weird. Like that's a weird like combination that they have, and they've got a bunch of them that like Bruce Wayne, Agent of Shield, but there's already Dark Claw, right? Who is Logan Wayne. And Bruce is Nick Fury and Bruce Wayne fuse. So it's just like
Wait,
it doesn't make any sense.
so when did did Logan Wayne's parents die in the 19th century
No.
or
It wasn't anything like that. He was just it was just they died, but they died like Batman's parents did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it's freaking stupid.
Yeah. And then like his brother is Bruce Wayne, but he's Nick Fury at the same time,
Okay.
and you never see them cross over. But
I can.
and then
Um,
Hyena is Joker and Sabretooth.
okay. I don't know Sabretooth. So yeah, no, I'm not super familiar with every Marvel and DC character, but Wolverine's a cool character. Um, that's all I'll say. Um, I
Yeah.
have I have X-Men Origins. Wolverine's origin story is pretty cool. And I think he's a cool character.
I
It's just
cosplayed as Sabretooth from that movie. Like,
yeah, I want to do a Justice cosplay. Talking
mm,
about Truth, Justice, and the American Way. I want to do Justice. I think I could pull off Justice. Um, that's all I'll say. Like I could probably do the character of Justice. No pun intended. Like because I'm a tall guy. I can grow a beard, and Justice has just got the stubble, so I could just do a clean shave like 2 days. I've got like I've got his stubble.
yeah.
Uh, and then I would just have to like get the costume out correctly, which I think, I mean, I might be able to do, but it's like down the line. Like I want to read the book first, to see, what he's like. Because he seems like one of the coolest characters of the. They all seem really cool. But American Way is like a bit of a cringe name for a superhero.
Hmm.
Um, that's like my one thing, but I get why Gabe's doing it. This very patriotic idea. This is what Superman's classic phrase. Truth, justice, the American way.
Right.
And I thought Superman with this really generic character, there wasn't any much value to him. But with Gabe talking about him and thinking more about, I realized that Superman's this cool, interesting character, and he's very he's very interesting in the fact that he is this basically godlike entity on Earth, but he chooses to live as a man. He can only live as a man because that's his morals compel him to, and his moral foundation came from being a farm, being raised on a farm in Kansas.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like I've said this before. Like, okay, so you've got Batman and Superman, right? And they're the big two in DC. Okay, and people use this argument that well, Superman was born Superman. I'm like, yes, but he was raised Clark Kent. Clark Kent is who Superman is, not Kal El. Clark Kent is who Superman is. If you write this any other way, you're doing it wrong. Okay, for Batman though, Bruce Wayne died with his parents. You know, affected mentally. Bruce Wayne died with his parents. He's been Batman since he put on the cowl, right? Batman is who Batman is.
Yeah.
Not Bruce Wayne is the alter ego. It's just a cover.
Yeah, well, Bruce Wayne is just a front for Batman to
Exactly.
do what he does,
Yeah.
and Batman is this, he's this character. He's constantly in conflict with his past, with himself, with the few people he is close to. He's got this hard time forming relationships with people because he views himself as just he is only in existence to stop crime. Like that is his entire existence. Is to stop crime, is to not have anyone die. That's his entire purpose for living. So he doesn't want to be close to people. He doesn't want to be this emotional, funny person. He wants to be a hero, and his way of going about a hero is morally great, and he's aware of that, and he plays into it. And that's what makes him such a great character. That's why people like Batman. That's why he's one of the most popular characters ever, is because he's in this constant state of moral conflict. And
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, no, I agree with you, Hale. Batman is, who he wants to be, and Bruce Wayne is just a front, and it's also a front, not just identity, but Wayne Enterprises is just a front for his business as the Batman. That's his business, even though it doesn't make him any money. That's his job. You
Right.
know,
Yeah. I mean that's all it is like and a lot of writers don't understand that. Like if you don't understand that basic concept of Batman and Superman, you should not be writing them.
Yeah,
Okay.
but there's no a desire to understand. There's like, okay, let's put Batman let's have Batman grapple his way through an Antifa riot and lecture you, the reader, about how it's good to be an Antifa rioter.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That stupid shit. Oh, and like that's not Batman. That is 100% not that. Batman would. I mean, okay, even a few years ago, right? Batman would have been in the middle of that crowd kicking people in the face, right? That half that crowd would have went to the hospital. The other half would have got tear gassed.
Yeah,
That's
I think in that situation, Batman would just you just disperse the crowd.
yeah,
With tear, you would just gas the crowd, and then he would go on to either the Joker or the Penguin or Harvey, whoever was causing the whole thing, and he stop it because his whole point is he doesn't want Gotham to be destroyed. Like
yeah. I mean, but yeah, that fight would not have gone on, and that is 100%. Like,
yeah,
I mean,
okay,
if it happened in say a Spider-Man comic book, Spider-Man would have wrapped him up. Spider-Man would have tied him up and stopped the fight. Anyway, stopped the rioting.
yeah,
Um, or he would have called in for backup. Something
yeah.
like, but
Yeah, but like a good writer would have, made that ride a part of the story, and it would have been something, done by a supervillain, and he would have stopped that. I mean, it would have had this whole plot. This whole thing. This is just like a list of like, I need to get the writer saying I need to get my political ideology onto the page very clearly to show that yes, I am on the right side of history. Yes, I do, care quote unquote about the LGBTQIA plus, pound
and see,
sign asterisk community.
I was talking to somebody, and this got brought up by the boy because of the boys series. Okay, and it was like they were pandering to everything. The evil company is pandering to everything in one scene, and they've got it all like at Vaultland, right? I don't know if you've seen the series yet or not, but
Yeah, no,
it
I
well,
haven't.
okay, well, so there's a scene where they got everything happening in Vaultland, and they've got BLM, they got rainbow flags, all this stuff happening, and it's satire is what it is, but at the same time, I'm thinking this is a superhero world, right? I can understand it happening in The Boys because they're all the heroes there are god awful. They're you got Starlight who's the only decent one. So, but the rest of them are all horrible people, and downright to where they're monsters. They're all supervillains, and there's no actual superheroes other than Starlight. But and Maeve kind of goes into that too. But anyway, so they're pandering, right? And I'm not going to go too much into the story of it, but I'm just like, for most, that has no business happening in, say, DC, right? The Black Lives Matter riots, none of that. It or some bigger stuff like has no business happening in bigger hero worlds, right?
Yeah,
Marvel, I can kind of understand because everybody's in New York. Everybody is in New York. But for DC, they're all over the world, and you've got characters that can literally run faster than light, right? That can literally get to a point and stop something that's happening, right? Um, Current politics have no business happening in the DC universe. They've elected Lex Luthor as president. I mean, he's been president before, and you don't have the politic issue back then. Um, and it's just like stuff like that has no business happening in a world full of superheroes. And leave your politics at the door,
yeah.
right?
Well, Son of Kal-El is like the worst example of it, in the sense of like how clearly that story is made to pander. Because
Yeah.
you have John Kent's boyfriend has the power to just like phase through anything, so he's basically invincible, so he can never get hurt. So
Mm,
there'll never be any situation in which the gay character is in danger because
yeah.
that's offensive somehow. So like everything is clearly written and calculated to um, perfectly walk on eggshells around these people who are psychotic. And every single day, these Twitter weirdos have a new stipulation they add on to their list of things that make them go ape shit.
Yeah.
And it's just like, what's the point of like trying to? They don't have any money. They're completely freaking insane. They go on TikTok and they talk about how they have 15 different personalities and they're all talking to them, trying to figure out, which new one, they're going to say they have next. And like, you don't want to be around these people. You don't even want to
Yeah.
like have a one night stand with one of these chicks because it's like, you have 15 different personalities. Like, how does that work? I have to ask all
they
15?
they are glamorizing like an actual disorder. Right?
Yeah.
None of them
Well,
actually have it. None of them. They're all
yeah.
retarded.
Well, they're
They're
all pretending to, because like the
oh
whole
yeah,
the whole the whole point of like dissociative identity disorder, like one, like it's extremely rare. It's debated if it's even a real thing. But the whole thing is they're supposed to all be unique personalities that exist within you, and they're supposed to be independent of each other. So you're not supposed to like have them You're not supposed to be able to like communicate with them.
yeah,
You're not supposed to like know all of them. You become like one, you have like, the person who has like, there's Bill and John. I'm like, I'm Bill, and then like I'm John's the same person, and like Bill and John will have no knowledge of like what, each other guy does. Well, that's not how, they talk about it. But it's just like one of the many things. And these are the people that Marvel and DC have determined we need to write comics for them. We need to write comics to try and get them into the local comic book store every week, even though they don't have any interest in that, and they're never going to. This is who Marvel and DC want to write for, and we've said it before. Let them die. Let them do this. They have made it so clear that they want to do this. That everyone involved, the creatives, the corporate people, that they want to make comic books for people who hate comic books. I say let them. Uh,
well, I mean, look, what they're okay. So it's written like that, like exactly what you said, for that reason, and it's written to piss people like me off, or like Jeremy or Ripa. It's meant to get us talking about it, us mad about it, talking on the internet. That gets them their side to start promoting it, right? If we're talking about it and we're bitching about it, we don't like it. It gets them talking about it, and then it generates some buzz around it, right?
Yeah, and
And,
it's also just oh yeah, sorry. Just sorry, but it's also just to add to what you're saying. When Ripa, Jeremy, Geeks and Gamers, whoever makes a video about that, they go that and say, it's feeds their egos because they
yes.
they look at that negativity as like a fact that like it's working. Like, oh, we race swapped this character, or we did this, we race swapped, we sexuality swapped, and people got mad about it. And those are just people who can't stand progress or whatever. They think that represents what one. All it represents is just that like you're getting on your knees and you're getting sloppy seconds from these corporations that you claim to hate. Capitalism and these big corporations, but you get on your hand and knees and you suck off Marvel and DC, and Marvel treats their artists so horribly. Like we were talking about Thanos. Like the guy who created Thanos made more money off of a side character in Batman versus Superman than he did on royalties from Thanos.
Yeah.
And Thanos was an Endgame in Infinity War. That character was in the two movies he was in made like nearly $4 billion off of Thanos. That guy should like be at least worth $100 million. And you're telling me he made less money than a side character from Batman versus Superman. Like
Yep.
Marvel does not pay their artists royalties or well at all. And DC's better with the royalty structure. I've heard
Well,
from
DC has like they had, I don't know if they still do, but they had like writers rights and artist rights.
yeah,
So you can't use their images, like the artist images, without their permission.
yeah,
That's the reason that you don't see DC had released, they were going to put out a character called Doctor Endless, okay, and he had all the powers of all seven of the Endless, right? Neil Gaiman heard about this, and he put a stop to it. Like, no, he's like, you can't do that. You can't use my characters without my permission. That is how it was written. That's what my contract says. That's another reason that they killed Vertigo off, so that they don't have to worry about, you know, they can get royalties from the Sandman stuff, but it's more like they're getting royalties, not him, right? He owns it, so but he was a big writer before he started writing comic books too. That's a different thing, altogether. He had a good lawyer,
Yeah.
and Bob Kane, the guy who created Batman, actually set that up for DC really early on, to where the writers would own their characters more than the comic would. That's why New 52 happened, was because the um the estate that owned Superman, right?
Yeah.
They were trying to get royalties from DC, so they changed DC. They changed Superman's personality and his costume. A lot of people don't know that, and it was coming off a really bad story. Like when they had decided to do this, it was coming off a really bad, like, big event that they were running.
You know, the whole point is that they do a new iteration of Superman, and they do it in a way where they don't have to pay. I forget, was it Jerry Siegel?
Yeah,
Who out,
sequel.
yeah,
Yeah, that
Siegel, the creator of Superman. They don't have to pay his estate out because it's
right,
not like Cowlick, red spandex Superman, but it's not an original character. So they don't have to do a new royalty deal for the new writer and artist. But yeah, DC's royalty structure is a bit better because there's stuff that DC won't touch because like Jeff Johns and Ethan Van Sciver created it. And if they
right.
were to bring it back, they'd have to pay them royalties, and they do not want to pay EVS more royalties.
Yeah, no, no, they don't. But yeah, I mean, that's what a lot of it's about. Is they don't want to pay, and then they'll put out these new characters, and they will actively try to piss us off and to get us talking about it and get us generating buzz about it, and hoping that the Twitter crowd will start buying it. That's what they're hoping for the future, right? They're not doing it for us right now or them right now. They're doing it for the future. So like people might buy it later. People might buy it in a couple of years once they've got us either silenced or just fuming mad to where we look crazy,
Yeah,
right? But we always end up being right. That's the thing. We always end up being right on our
yeah.
side.
And to this, it's like back Comic Gate's book. There's so many great books in Comics Gate that you can read, you can enjoy, and they're not full of this crazy woke nonsense. Just
Mm-hmm.
I read Wrath of God, I read Thin Blue Line. They're just good, well-drawn comic books that you can get lost in. I love them, and that's it's consistent with CG. I've read Earthbound. I've read let's see, Red Earthbound, Is This You? Red Summer Graveyard Shift, a bunch of books. I got more books on the way. Um, but yeah, I'm looking up a chat with Hail the Lore. Marvel is going to be, yeah, Marvel's broke. Image Comics is broke. I mean, Image Comics has got a union with 12 people as a joke, and
Yeah.
even with the Invincible show, they're
Well, that's because
uh,
they don't own Invincible, right? Image
yeah,
doesn't own Invincible.
yeah,
They
Scott does.
they they own they own some of the rights to
Yeah,
like to reprint, but they're just a publisher.
yeah. That's just
Robert Kirkman owns Invincible. That's
yeah,
the difference.
it's just a publishing deal.
Because
For
the way Image was structured to start with was that every writer on, this is what Image should have been the one to kill Marvel and DC. Honestly, they ran into a financial struggle because of Marvel and DC's bad decisions. Like that's what happened in the '90s. Is that Image came in the '90s, but they came right at the wrong time. To and they started connecting to later, Sam. They started coming to, you know, doing their own thing, but it was three guys who created Image: Todd McFarlane, uh, Rob LaFille,
Eric Larson.
and Eric Larson. Yeah, they created it, and then like so, Robert Kirkman, he owns all his stuff. He owns the rights to it. He just uses Image as his publisher. Um,
And he's also, I think he's pretty high up in Image as well.
yeah, he is. And that's why he uses Image. He doesn't produce it through anybody else because he's high enough up to where it doesn't matter. And but yeah, he owns all his stuff, so that's where it kind of draws the line. Where yes, he's giving Image sales through the reprints of the Invincible comic book. but he's getting more money from the show and the royalties from the comic book. And then
Yeah.
The Walking Dead, you know, when he made they made the Walking Dead show on AMC, you know, he could afford to do what he wanted then, you know, like, but and anything Robert Kirkman does is gold in the comic book industry.
Yeah.
Oblivion Song, you know, they were predicting that the first issue of that was going to be worth millions of dollars once Netflix picked it up for a show. I bought the first issue. I never read it. Um, and then I sold it back for like $60. You know, so I sold it to a comic book store. I didn't care anything about it at the time. I was trying to shrink my collection down, and like everything I've got back here, I can't sell it, but I like the art on it, like the Thanos, the Superman, the Spider Gwen right here. You
Yeah.
know, you can't see any of them from where they're at. I like the art on it. That's pure and simple on that. But as far as it goes, like I know that I've been disenfranchised with the stuff a lot. I should have done a video. I should have done a YouTube channel on this a lot sooner myself. I didn't really get into the comic space of YouTube for a while until I found Ripa, and then there was already people doing it and all that stuff. I was doing D&D content before I was doing this, and I still do D&D content. You know, I still talk about D&D even on this channel. But yeah, it's this is how it gets better, right? This is how we make everything better. Is we talk, we discuss, we buy, right?
Yeah.
We're the side with money for sure. We
Oh
are the
yeah.
side with money,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. No.
the more they attack Eric, the more we buy. Just
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of the funniest thing ever. Is just like the more they attack, the more we buy.
Yeah, no, there are people who backed just because of all the bitching.
Yeah,
The other side's me. I say I welcome it, and they're going to keep acting like this. You know, you see, Black. You know, you saw what Black Sands Comics did, what Godhood Comics
yep,
did. Don't stop them. Well, let them do this. I say I wouldn't encourage it. I would want people to be this blatantly racist, especially towards your own race.
yeah,
If the person doesn't conform to your worldview, whatever. But hey, if if you want to self-destruct like that in a very glorious way, then go ahead and do it. And if these guys had a completely different way of going about it, I might have bought some of their books. I might have
right,
checked it out.
yeah,
Their books aren't the best looking thing, but the deals are decent. There's a lot of content, and if you had like, hey, um, I wish, I had that success, but, that's something that for me to strive for. You had a healthier way of going about it. You could have had, 30 some odd thousand people, hear about you, and, some of them might have been customers, but, anyone who has any amount of respect for Ripa is going to see what these people, said about him. And, as a customer of his, you're like, I don't want to be your customer because,
yeah. I
you
mean,
know,
you just think about how many people they turned off that were just fans of Ripley just by doing what they did.
yeah, and
Like,
yeah, sorry. A lot of these people are new to the comic industry in general. I did a poll. I've been doing a lot of polls. I do a daily poll on the site, on Eric's member forum. I posted on the Rippaverse Twitter and the Rippaverse Reddit. And one of them I did was, "Is Isom One your first comic book purchase?" And almost half the people said yes.
yeah, yeah, I saw that. But yeah, you run the Rippaverse Reddit, right?
I don't run it. I
Oh,
just post. I just
oh,
post
okay.
it.
So you're on it, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm on it. I made the I don't know if you know the quartering, but I made the quartering subreddit.
okay.
Um, and I actually sold that to Jeremy for $300. And
Really?
that's yeah, that's the best thing. Like the 10 odd years I've used Reddit, that's the one good thing that happened to me on Reddit.
Well, let's see. Hell the Lore, he runs one on Twitter. So
Yeah. I
ain't that you hell you run the
I
Rippaverse?
the Ripper First community on Twitter, I made that. And
You made that one. Okay.
I made that. I made you a mod of it. I made
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
yeah, I made a horror Emerada a mod. She's known in the Unrippers community. But yeah, I made that one.
Okay.
I posted a poll to it as well.
Yeah.
Uh,
I got to keep up with everybody, man. So yeah, you did that one. Yeah. I knew you did one of them. I just couldn't remember which one.
yeah, no,
So yeah.
yeah, no, I checked out. I only go to the Rippaverse Reddit to
Okay.
post the poll there. I don't really, I really checked out a Reddit because
I'll post a link to my video every now and then. Like if I'm about to go live, especially like with a fan art one, I'll post it on there. That'll be about
yeah,
the only time I do. But
yeah. No, and the Rippaverse Reddit went from like a couple hundred. It's over 2,000 now. So there's a decent amount of growth there.
yeah.
Even though I'm sure the term Rippaverse is all shadow banned to hell on Reddit.
Oh yeah, yeah, 100%. It is shadow banned to hell on Reddit. That's why we get. I mean, there's a few of them, but I don't ever see anybody posting on there. I don't even get updates on it. Like nothing pops up for me until I go check it out.
Yeah,
Like
no, I got emails about, but that's probably only because I post so consistently.
yeah,
So
and I might post once a week if that, and like most of the time. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's okay. Twitter hit it, so okay. Yeah. Well, we've Barrett runs one. Hell. So you know,
yeah.
join in on that one. For
So
sure.
yeah, hell, if yeah, if you have a Twitter and you're not part of the Rippaverse community, it's invite only. So that way I can gatekeep it. So that way, there's tons of bad people on Twitter, so I want to make sure every person in the Rippaverse Twitter is a genuine fan. So just DM me at Joker the Folio. I'll type it in chat.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that I typed my Twitter handle in chat. So if you're
Okay.
not, yeah, part of the Rippaverse community, Hale, just DM that Twitter handle and say, hey, this is my Twitter account. I made a request to join. Can you please, put me in, and I'll get you in there real quick.
Yeah. And oh yeah, we got our Discord too. So if y'all want to join the Discord and have a conversation
Yeah,
or
no
talk
problem, Hale.
talk it out and argue, feel free to. You can post that on the Twitter, like post the Discord link if you want. If as long as you've vetted everybody, that's fine. Like this is for my community, but they're welcome to join it.
Yeah, yeah, no,
Um,
I make sure. There have been some people who've been at it, but there are people who, like I said, they're part of Ripa's community. They know what they're doing. But yeah, everyone I've checked, you've been part of Comicscape and part of, Ripa, just making sure that like there isn't any like and no one's tried to do anything sketchy. Barely anyone posted that. There's like 20 members in there.
yeah, yeah.
But I figured I'd make the community on Twitter so that way someone else didn't make it and do bad stuff with it. So
Yeah. Well, I know that. Like I said, I know Hill. He tried to make one, but like they took it down. I mean, like the first day. But yeah. So because he made that the same day I made this, and then you made one. And I was trying to keep up with who made what, but yeah. So I mean, this is just the beginning of it, though. Like I'm kind of glad we're on the ground floor of it for everything.
yeah, no, this is exciting.
Because
Um,
well, I've sent Eric a couple emails about making the statues for the Ripaverse. So maybe he'll get back to me on that.
yeah, yeah, no,
Uh,
some action figures would be. I'm not an action figure guy, but it would be cool to see some. I prefer you do it independently as possible because EVS is doing it. All caps comics is coming out with uh, action figures. And EVS has been, working with manufacturers. So it's very expensive, like I imagine it would be to make action figures. But it seems like he's trying to do it independently as he possibly can. I think Ripper should go the same route. Like it sure would be cool, for like a McFarlane Toys, knows what they're doing. You said, there's some other companies, like NECA. Others, I'm sure it'd be cool, to have a big company. But I don't think, Ripper's at that point where like Ripper versus such a big brand that a company like McFarlane Toys, like NECA is going to want to start licensing them out. Want the Rippaverse license. So I think the first Rippaverse action figure should be done as in house as possible. That's just me though.
Yeah,
And
I mean, I can do them. It just it'll take me forever to do them, right?
yeah,
Because I'd have to do them one figure at a time with my printer, which
yeah,
it's slow anyway. It's an older model, but it works for what I want it to. I can make helmets and all that shit with it,
yeah,
So I'm I'm gonna hopefully get with Eric about that. I'm still working on the hat, and it's half done. It's over half done last time I checked it. Um, so there's
yeah,
that, and I'll get
yeah.
it
No,
I'll get it painted and everything, and then hopefully I'll get it sent off by either next week or a couple weeks after that. It'll be, I don't know when it's gonna arrive. It might arrive the same time the comics do.
yeah. That sounds good. And yeah,
So
yeah. Oh yeah,
yeah,
sorry. Just Hale said Ripper wants to do action figures down the line when he can, and yeah, I mean it's comic book and comic book accessories, and that's a big part. Action figures is a big part
yes,
of comic book culture. So imagine he's raring to get into it. Everyone wants Ripper for his action figures, but you got to make the dollars make sense, and it's expensive. Because it's not just making them, it's designing them and sculpting them, and then the tooling, and then you have to get the first run, and then you have to make sure it's okay, and then you got a bunch of defects, and you got the packaging and shipping. There's
right,
all these things that go into it to make an action figure. So it's a lot of money. And the first book isn't even out yet,
yeah,
which is
yeah.
the insane thing. And we're already talking about action figures. We're
Oh
already
yeah,
talking
yeah.
about.
But I've seen him emails, to get with him about the statues that he wants, because he wants like the statue that's like a 1/6 scale or whatever you call them, and they're just a posed statue. They don't move or anything. That's what
Oh
he
yeah,
he was wanting
yeah,
for the first campaign, but I didn't know he was looking for it until he had already gotten done with that. And
yeah,
I seen him a couple emails, and he said today that he was gonna start answering those emails and stuff like that. So maybe he'll get back to me about it. I sent him
yeah,
some examples of what I can do with it in a picture on one of them. So
yeah.
maybe you
Yeah,
know,
no, figures like that are common. There's a lot of anime characters where they'll make
yeah,
figurines like that, like really high quality ones. It'll be like several $100s, and you get like, well, I mean, some of them, they're you got your anime waifus, and you'll have one where you can swap the bodies out. One of them will be wearing a bikini, the other will be wearing nothing at all.
yeah,
So
yeah.
not that like Ripperverse has to do that with Yaira, even though I'm sure no one would protest that in the community. If
Everybody would buy
everyone
that.
would buy, hell man, I'd buy two of Yaira. So
Yeah.
I'm saying they couldn't do something like that and people would buy it. But they don't need to do something, but something of the same quality of those figurines, because I haven't bought any of those because they're so expensive, but they're really high quality. So like
Mhm.
something like a 1/6, you can't move it. It's not posable like an action figure would be, but it's really high quality. Like it's really nice set piece. I think it's probably what Rippa was going for.
Oh yeah,
But
yeah, yeah. He was definitely going for them. But and as far as action figures go, I mean, I can do those as well. I can do prototypes for it anyway. If I can't get it for like do all of them, I can do the prototypes for it.
yeah,
If I can get a hold of him and just show him what I can do.
yeah,
Like I said, I sent him some examples of what I've done, and I haven't really worked on the statue that I was working on because of this channel right here. So
yeah,
this blown way too fast for me to even try to do that. I was expecting to sit here and just be bored out of my mind talking for 5 minutes at a time, and just nobody show up for the first month, because that's how my old podcast worked. And then I would get 30 people max, and then it would die off. So I got two old podcasts that are dead in the water, and then this one just blew the fuck up so fast that I couldn't even imagine it. But I got a shout out from Jeremy and uh Tuesday Night Main Event, and it blew up from there. So I had 30 people before he did that, and then I got up to 80 before the night was over. So I mean, it's just gonna get bigger. I mean, this community right here is just get growing every day.
yeah,
Like
Yeah, no, if this keeps going the way it's going to go, Ripaverse is consistently going to be selling 100,000 in an issue. And it's not going to take too long for it to be consistently selling 1 million in an issue.
Yeah, well, if they piss us off every time, it's going to be 1 million an issue. I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
if they
no,
piss us off every time that
yeah.
Eric
But
releases something,
Yeah, but that's what they're going to do.
oh yeah,
Like I said, every step of the way they're going to say it's going to fail instantly, or they're going to keep propagating this conspiracy theory they have with Comicsgate. So the thing with Comicsgate is that no one makes any money in Comicsgate. It's just like about 10 to 20 people who have all the money in Comicsgate and they pass it around to each other and they make all these fake accounts to make it seem like all their books are being successful.
Yeah,
No one buys Comicsgate books. It's all conspiracy theory, like I said. 10 to 20 guys making a bunch of spam accounts and sharing the same amount of money. Um, so that, and this is what these people think because they can't think that their enemies are successful, that there are people who just want to read comic books but don't want to have it through the proper channels or have
yeah,
it for people that have been canceled. So like once you've been canceled, every second after your cancellation that you aren't dead in the gutter is an affront to God to them. And the fact that they can't do anything, to someone like Ripa or all the people in Comicsgate operating independently
yeah.
infuriates them. Um, but yeah, no, with that, it's pretty late for me. This has been a great talk. I'd love to do it again.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah, but yeah, I gotta get some sleep, man.
Man, have a good one. Thank you for the impromptu, just appearance on my channel. It was
Yeah,
great. I'd
yeah,
love
no,
to have you back anytime, man.
yeah, anytime, man. I've got like so much stuff to talk about.
All right, yeah.
With the reverse stuff,
Well,
and comics and games in general, man.
yeah.
And anime is a big thing for me, so we can talk about
Oh
anime
yeah,
too.
man. I can talk about anything, dude. I will talk about anything. But
Uh,
yeah, go on. Have a good one, man, and thank you again for coming.
yeah, yeah,
And
no,
we'll see you in the
yeah,
future, man.
yeah, yeah. We're
I'll be back. I'll be live tomorrow at some point. I don't know what time.
yeah. Okay, yeah.
So,
No, good night, and yeah, let's get winning.
all right, man. Well, that was fun. So this is going to be a normal thing on here. Is doing this right here, talking to fans, talking to other people who want to do this. And just want to talk. Like I don't mind it at all. I enjoy talking. Uh, so yeah. Um, we got what 2 hour video tonight, and over half of that was talking. So yeah, that's a great thing. Uh, you guys have a good one. I'm not gonna run like a 4 hour 3 hour one tonight because tomorrow is gonna be a bigger one, being our 2 week uh our 2 week anniversary thing. So tomorrow will be a bigger stream, and I'll have the hat, and I'll be done with it, and I probably won't have it painted, but I'll have it done where I can show it off and stuff like that in the video. And if anybody wants to chat with me, wants to get in on this, the Discord link is up there. You're welcome to come talk to me. This is not going to be a drama thing, so if you're a hater, stay the fuck out. I will monetize the fuck out of you. But if you want to talk and nerd out on a stream, you're always welcome to. Just let me know and we'll schedule it out in the Discord. But yeah, I'm gonna turn in here. I'm gonna take this off. I'm gonna just go chill out a little bit.